Welcome to the ASIJ High School Band Spring Concert. Tonight you will be hearing the ASIJ Concert Band, conducted by Sierra Schwartz and Julia Clipper, followed by the High School Wind Ensemble, conducted by Sierra Schwartz and Shane Keeley.
The concert band will perform 4 pieces for you. Abracadabra by Frank Tikelli, Shenandoah arranged by Robert Sheldon, Waltz No. 2 by Shostakovich, and The KV Fear by Michael Markowski.
The composer of this piece is Frank Tikelli, an American composer born on January 21st, 1958 in Monroe, Louisiana.
He currently lives in Los Angeles and has written pieces for bands, orchestras, chorus groups, and many more.
Since 1991, he has been a professor of composition at the University of Southern California's Thornton School of Music.
A number of his works are very notable as he's received many awards for his orchestral, wind ensemble, and chamber ensemble pieces.
The song we played as a band by Frank Tikelli was Abracadabra, a very enthusiastic and lively piece.
This piece is dedicated to Tikelli's son. The composer portrays numerous emotions such as fun, mysterious, calm, and confident. It portrays the magic of childhood and emphasizes many emotions throughout the song.
The piece Abracadabra features an abrupt tonal shift from G minor to E flat major. This song shows 2 motives, one of which is simple, shown in 3 notes, as Henri will show. But the composer plays around with these 3 notes, and is later transformed into a more dramatic scene by changing the dynamics, articulation, and introducing different instruments. This adds to the playful theme of magic.
The theme of Abracadabra reasserts itself in the end, moving to a more powerful climax and final rhythm. See if you notice the shifts in the song.
This piece was composed in the summer of 2004 with images of Halloween being played with to create the melody and sounds. Halloween in America, where Tikelli was from, was celebrated through jack-o'-lanterns, trick-or-treating, and costumes.
These elements were infused into the creation of this piece through the layering and contrast of the low brass and low woodwind long tunes, with the staccato and light sounds of the higher instruments, such as flutes and clarinets.
When we practiced this piece in class, Ms. Schwartz and Ms. Clipper had the brass and woodwind split into different rooms to help work on our individual parts. Like Sola and Elena talked about earlier, this piece has so many different sounds and changes of key, so splitting the brass and woodwind up really helped the song sound more synchronized. It's a really great piece that has helped us all improve as musicians. We really enjoyed playing this song and we're excited to let you hear it.
Now please enjoy Abracadabra, performed by the concert band.
Music has existed since the dawn of time, it being a vehicle of storytelling told through a universal language. The essence of storytelling is embedded within music, as shown by Shenandoah.
While Shenandoah's melody is very recognizable, its origin story is not as well known. Shenandoah is a folk song about a French fur trader who fell in love with the daughter of Shenandoah, a Native American chieftain. However, the French and Indian War created a division between the Native Americans and the fur traders, and Shenandoah forbid their love. This piece is about the strength of love and how not even war can stop it.
Shenandoah first appeared in writing as Shenandoah in April 1876, but before that it was known as a sea shanty song.
A sea shanty is a genre of traditional folk music that was commonly sung as a work song to accompany rhythmical labor aboard large merchant ships.
The song Shenandoah most likely originated from early French-Canadian fur traders and was commonly used as a sea shanty. However, over time, many people have arranged the song and changed the lyrics.
Unlike the other pieces that we are performing, Shenandoah is quite slow, and the steady climb towards the climax can be heard through the various layers of the piece that come together in great harmony. A smooth and lyrical effect is created by the brass and woodwinds complementing each other. This builds a beautiful musical balance that has had a great impact on our band.
Brimming with cultural significance, the themes of Shenandoah remain relevant today, with narratives of divisiveness being ever present.
Regardless, Shenandoah exemplifies the astounding ways in which folklore embeds itself in music, preserving its timeless themes for centuries to come. Now, we warmly welcome you to listen to Robert Sheldon's arrangement of Shenandoah.
Waltz Number 2 by Dmitri Shostakovich is the fourth movement in the Suite for Variety Orchestra. For many decades, this piece was misidentified as the Suite for Jazz Orchestra, which was a completely separate work that was lost during war.
The waltz was performed and used in movies all throughout the 90s while being mislabeled as this separate piece. It was finally realized that this was false and was corrected in the year 2000.
Dmitri Shostakovich was born in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1906. Before becoming a composer, Shostakovich started his music career by studying piano in his school years. He wrote his first classical symphony as his graduation piece from high school. Shostakovich began to collaborate with many other composers, and soon enough, he was one of the most famous composers in the world.
Shostakovich originally planned to become a pianist, and he wanted to write and perform music. He was a noted film accompanist, and in 1923, he earned credentials for playing piano in silent movies. This is how he learned to improvise music.
James Curnow arranged the second waltz for concert band in 2010, but this piece has been arranged by many people and has been played many times around the world. Because Shostakovich was such an influential composer, and this piece in particular was so influential to the classical musical world,
The second waltz is mostly in C minor form. The main melody is played by the alto saxophone. This waltz can be read as a romantic waltz, but the difference of the lightness and darkness within the music is what gives a musical contrast in this piece.
Waltz 2 is a very famous music piece, and many films use this for their background music. One famous example is the 1997 movie Anna Karenina, and is played during a waltz dance. Today, some people use this waltz for their first wedding dance.
Thank you so much for watching.
Now we will play the Waltz Number 2 by Dmitri Shostakovich.
Enjoy!
Final song that we will be performing is called The Cave You Fear. This piece is written by a composer named Michael Markowski. One day he studied the film book written by Campbell called The Hero with 1,000 Faces. This book and the quote, "Take the adventure," was life-changing for him, and the composer decided to take a jump and created this piece to show the idea, the hero's journey. The hero's journey is a common story structure where a character ventures into an unknown territory to retrieve something they need. Facing conflict and adversity, the hero ultimately triumphs before returning home, transformed.
This piece of music reflects the exuberance of the hero's journey. The extended techniques throughout the music amplify the dramatic effect of the song. Across this piece, notable extended techniques include the super ball mallet, which is created by attaching a rubber ball to a mallet and running it across the gong. The flutter tongue, which is created by growling into a trumpet and going up and down a scale. And the multiphonic, which is created by playing a B flat on a saxophone without holding the C key. These techniques amplify the overall emotional aspect of Cave You Fear. Thank you for listening to our presentation on the Cave You Fear.
As Joseph Campbell states in regard to the piece The Cave You Fear, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. In other words, the most intimidating and fearsome tasks happen to also be the most rewarding. Throughout the piece, all the instruments involved try to collaborate to express the emotions associated with this journey, such as fear, confusion, and most importantly, excitement. The percussion section is the foundation of the extremes of these emotions, as they can be considered to be the powerful backbone of this piece. The percussion sets the tempo and leads the crescendos through the high tension moments and leads the decrescendos through the more calm states of the piece.
We will now be performing The Cave You Fear by Michael Markowski.
The Wind Ensemble will now perform 4 pieces for you. Mars, written by Gustav Holst, Seal Lullaby by Eric Whittaker, El Choclo by Angel Vivaldo, and finally, March Kawasaki by James Barnes. Enjoy.
Mars, the Bringer of War, is the first movement of the Planet Suite composed by Gustav Holst and influenced by Mendelssohn, Chopin, Sir Arthur Sullivan, and Wagner. The piece is in G minor, giving the piece a darker and more unresolved feel. The piece is characterized by short percussive notes, with smoother and heavier chromatic melodies on top building tension. Despite its march-like feel, it's in the uneven meter of 5/4, making it feel off-kilter. The piece starts on the main motif, which is repeated throughout the piece, frequently by the percussion and occasionally by the whole band. The motif is comprised of an eighth note triplet followed by 2 quarter notes, 2 eighth notes, and a quarter note.
Other characteristics of the piece are its abundant dynamic swells and contrasts within the overall crescendo, which really makes the piece ebb and flow in certain sections. This arrangement of Mars is for concert band. The main themes of the original suite are maintained in this adaptation, with the arranger describing the piece as evoking feelings from the intrepid to the serene. The piece starts off soft and brisk and builds an intensity until it backs off again for a soft, serene middle section. However, the intensity quickly returns, this time even more aggressive, and continues to build all the way to the end of the piece.
Gustavus Theodor von Holst was born in England on September 21, 1874, and passed away on May 25, 1934. He had asthma, which is one of the reasons why he played trombone professionally. He would go on to study at the Royal College of Music, and his main influences were Mendelssohn, Chopin, Grieg, Wagner, and Sir Arthur Sullivan. He did not write a piece for Pluto when it was discovered, because he resented that the planets overshadowed his other work.
Mars, along with the other movements in the Planetary Suite, have proven themselves to be influential in many modern pieces. John Williams was largely inspired by this piece's uneasy and ominous feel when he composed the Imperial March. They are even in the same key of G minor. Mars also shows its influence in the piece The Battle on the soundtrack to Gladiator, composed by Hans Zimmer. Triumphant yet sinister brass and percussion elements are used to indicate conflict, reminiscent of Mars representing the Bringer of War. The piece was so similar that the Holst Foundation filed a lawsuit against Zimmer for closely using melodies from Mars.
Mars and all the movements of the planets were written between 1914 to 1916. They have no relation to World War I. It's a common misconception that the movements of the planets are based on Roman gods. However, their concept is rather astrological. Each movement is intended to convey a message and feeling about how a planet affects the human mind.
We will now play Mars, composed by Gustav Holst. We hope you enjoy.
Next, we will play for you Seal Lullaby, a piece composed by the Grammy Award-winning American composer Eric Whitacre. Whitacre is a graduate from the prestigious Juilliard School of Music and is widely considered to be the pioneer of modern choral music. In 2020, Whitacre's Virtual Choir No. 6, Sing Gently, was written during the global pandemic and featured 17,000 singers from over 120 countries. He dedicated this piece to Stephen Schwartz, a renowned musical composer who has written songs for musicals including Pippin, Wicked, and Godspell.
The Seal Lullaby is in a form of a lullaby of mixed choir and accompaniment of Rudyard Kipling's movie, The White Seal. Eric Whitacre described this movie as a beautiful, dark, and rich story, and the song was made to match that tone. This piece is so beautiful that although the movie was not made, he still sung the song to his son as a bedtime lullaby.
The piece was written because the studio heads always wanted to make an epic adventure and animated film based on Rudyard Kipling's The White Seal.
According to Eric Whitacre's page, The White Seal is a beautiful story, classic Kipling, dark and rich, and not at all condescending to kids. Best of all, Kipling begins his tale with the mother seal singing softly to her young pup. The opening poem is called The Seal Lullaby.
While describing the relationship between a mother seal and a baby seal, the lyrics create an overall feeling of safety. This is done through lyrics such as "The storm shall not wake thee," which emphasize the comforting and nurturing nature of the mother seal.
The structure of the poem is a ballad in the beginning and then shifts to a slightly different form, and it is written so that it gives off a very musical and peaceful quality. There's also a certain flow in the rhythm which resembles the waves in the ocean, and this piece is usually performed in the lullaby.
El Choclo was written in 1905 in Argentina. We know this because it appears on the program at the venue, El Americana, where it was first performed. During this time, there were a lot of Italian immigrants coming into Argentina. They brought in more ideas from the Renaissance, expanding art and music in Argentina.
El Choclo, which means the corn cob in South American Spanish, is one of the most popular tangos in Argentina. Its composer, Angel Gregorio Villoldo Arroyo, wrote the piece in honor of and took its title from the nickname of the proprietor of a nightclub, who was known as El Choclo.
Angel Villoldo was born on February 16th of 1861 and was an Argentine musician and composer and one of the pioneers of tango music. In addition to being a composer, he was a lyricist, played the guitar and harmonica, and was one of the major singers of this era.
This piece utilizes a sound which is synonymous with Argentina's diverse musical landscape. The key area, scale, and rhythmic arrangements encompass the signature South American sound. The C minor, C major, F minor, F major repeating in patterns A, B, A, B are representative of this sound and is what gives this piece so much life.
And here's an example of what Tay mentioned.
El Choclo is an energetic Argentinian tango with many different themes. Since it is a tango, the theme of dance really shows throughout the piece. Although every part of the theme carries this feel, it is most evident at the start of the piece, and Ryan Haddad will play it for you now.
Thank you for watching. Enjoy the piece.
This piece is split into typical march structure, which involves the first strain, second strain, the trio, and the third strain.
The piece starts off with the first strain, which acts as a main melody for the piece, and it goes into the second strain, which will be later explained in another video, but it sounds very different from the main melody. For this piece, it goes back to the main melody for one section before transitioning into the trio.
In this piece, the trio is called The Sound of Kawasaki, and it's basically like a contrasting section to the strains.
From the trio to the third strain, there is a solo, percussion solo section that serves as a transition between the two sections, and the third strain serves as the conclusion for the march.
This piece incorporates both Eastern and Western motifs, borrowing heavily from a Japanese piece titled The Sounds of Kawasaki in the trio section. In addition, a military-esque, booming Japanese bass line can be heard first at the 1/3 mark of the piece. Finally, the taiko drum also makes a surprise entrance, so keep your ears open for it a little after the halfway mark.
The trio in the march is based on the song The Sound of Kawasaki, composed by Kenichi Shuto, a middle school student in Kawasaki, with lyrics written by Yukari Asakawa, who is also a middle school student. The song was originally written to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the municipalization of Kawasaki. The lyrics go like this: Miyagereba sora, miwataseba machi, which translates to, if you look up there's sky, and if you look across there is a city.
Hello, my name is Spencer.
Hello, my name is Tracy.
And we're going to be talking about the composer James Barnes.
So James Barnes was born in Oklahoma in 1947. He studied music theory and composition at the University of Kansas.
Barnes has performed with many professional organizations in the United States and is a tubist. His numerous compositions are still played frequently in the US, Europe, Japan, Taiwan, and Australia, and he often travels to foreign countries.
James Barnes, prior to composing the piece in 2005, had visited Japan over 30 times. This allowed him to combine Western and Japanese elements into the piece for the Festival of Children's Music. The Festival of Music has continued annually since its beginning in 2005. Each year it is held in Kawasaki, Japan.
We will now be performing March Kawasaki by James Barnes.
The wind ensemble maintains its high standard of performance thanks in no small part to the seniors in our group. Many seniors have been in the band program since 6th grade, demonstrating commitment and musical excellence while creating a sense of family amongst the members of the band. Thank you, seniors, for all of your dedication and hard work. Your musical contributions will leave a lasting legacy here at ASIJ.